We're good. All right, let me go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode, I think, 4 now. Yeah.
Four.
I don't know. I just show up.
It's been a long week 6,
Same.
I think, for everyone. This week has been.
Y'all can make.
Sorry. Also, by the way, SoundCloud. We're switching over to YouTube for the podcast because SoundCloud is trying to charge Homegirl like $12 a month to start uploading. So if you want to hear the past podcasts, they're still going to be up there, but I'm now going to have a link for the YouTube. So if you see us looking, it's because we're watching ourselves on the camera too on my laptop because I'm uploading on the YouTube. That was a lot to say. Okay.
Gotta update them.
And by the way, so we're going to do a quick little shout out. So Alfredo is not here with us this week because he is getting married. Yay! We're all like, he's officially.
Finally. I'm sorry.
Yeah, literally. So I brought cake in celebration because we didn't go to the wedding, but we still have some cake here for us.
Is that tres leches?
Yep, exactly.
Carlos, muerda.
Oh no, I didn't. It's been that week, literally. Right? That would probably make my day. So this week we are doing financial aid, or as you know, let's get this bread. Exactly. And actually, I have a quick announcement to make. Can you pass me that sticky note? So tomorrow, for all my students here on campus, in STEM 353, there will be a CSS and FAFSA workshop, so you could go in from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Get that done. Please don't do it last minute. Like, get that money literally, like this podcast. Like, since we're touching on the topic financially, this is a great resource for you. You know, I know everyone has a hard time with filling out both of these, especially CSS.
Yeah. Oh my God. CSS is so long.
It's FAFSA on steroids, like literally. Yeah. So please go out tomorrow again. It's going to be in STEM 353 from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And if you have any more questions about that, just shoot us a message on the app or let me know. But yeah. So as always, the tradition here is we got the list of questions. And we're going to just randomly choose a number. So this week we only got like 10 questions. Yes. I'm going to do introductions. Let me go over it.
Sorry. I'll leave my grapes then, or her grapes.
So, as always, we have the list of questions, and now I'm going to do introductions, so we'll start here.
He can go first.
Fine.
All right. Cool. I'm Michael Huang. I'm a 4th year here at TU, and I'm studying business analytics and marketing.
You're almost done. I'm jealous. Okay. My name is Brianna Aguilar. I'm a 3rd year here. I'm majoring in psychology and criminology. For any of you out there, let me know.
Y'all get to see you again?
The famous.
Nah, not even. Recent alumni of the University of Denver's Masters in Higher Education program. Sad news for y'all, I just recently was offered a position at the University of Colorado, and that's where I also went for my undergrad. So I will be back, I will be around, and I will be trying to commit to these because it's awesome. Still is an awesome idea.
My name is George. I am a 1st year master's student in the higher ed program. And yeah. I'll go to the question.
Okay.
I'll get started.
All right. Since you're a guest
Make
today,
that bread.
I should have done that. I should have been like, we should make the flour and the bread for the activity. Okay.
It's actually like a bread making workshop.
Yeah.
Also
It's okay. Okay. So just choose a number between 1 and 10.
5.
5. Wow. Okay. Why?
It's just
smack that in the middle.
right in the middle. Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, what advice would you give about finding scholarships in college?
Oh my God. In college?
Yeah, because it's different compared to high school.
Yeah, I would say like in college it's slightly harder to get like finding those scholarships because there's really not like a centralized place really, especially for undergrads to like find it. So I would say like for me, I went to go see my financial advisor like in Daniels, and she like really helped me out. But I don't know like if that works for every advisor because I know it's like super biased. But she helped me find like 2 more scholarships that I never would have known existed because like just a lot of them aren't made public, so you just have to dig for it.
I'd say this is where it's so important that word of mouth counts because a lot of these scholarships that are available for folks, undergrads, oftentimes are very hard to access. So if you see your friends or folks in your orgs that you're in that they're applying for things, just keep an eye out and see what's their application, their best practices for having applied for it. In my undergrad, my last year of all years, I actually got a really nice scholarship from a private family, and that was based. Yeah, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna eat ramen this whole last year of college of my undergrad at CU. And no, it was just a private family that someone else, a couple of folks had won, and they said, well, you kind of have to access it this way, X, Y, Z, and I got it. And I didn't think I was going to get it, so definitely reach out to folks who have done it. Alumni, upperclassmen, you name it.
I think from my undergrad experiences, there was some programs that offered me scholarship money for just being in the program. So I'm not too familiar with like DU, but when I did my undergrad, I had a scholarship through that program, and I was available for like thousands of dollars more in scholarships just because I was in that program, and there was only for students in the program as well. So definitely look at what resources you can on campus and what organizations you can join.
Yeah. Well, so where do I begin? I think, of course, you could always Google like scholarships for undergrads and stuff like that, but always look out for your newsletters and stuff like that, especially if you're part of like the first generation initiatives, like programs like One Gen UAP, eSTEM, Eli, and Denver Promise. Where there's always in the newsletter like those type of scholarships. Specifically, like I know last year, the only reason I applied like to HSF, I applied like super on the deadline day, and I was through my other program, college track. I have a college completion advisor, and she always sends out like every once a month like a newsletter as well, and like talking about opportunities and stuff like that. And one of them was like, oh, here's scholarships. And like I was thinking, ooh, this is due today, should I really? And like I did it, like in that day off, and I was just like, yeah, sure, why not? And I turned it in, and like I was surprised because they were like, oh, you're a finalist, and I was like, what? I was like, I did this like so last minute, and then like when I did the finalist stage, it was like just like more of the essay comprehension part. They wanted like photos and stuff like that, and then when I was abroad this summer in Costa Rica, I heard back from them, and they were like, you've been selected as like an HSF scholar and stuff like that. So I only share that because it's like, even though you think like, oh, it's too late and stuff, like it's not. Like you should always just put yourself out there and like still use that as a resource. And then not even that, like I just feel like with the newsletters, there's always a lot of scholarships that we put out there. There's HSF, there's LEAP, right?
Yeah.
LAF, sorry, I said LEAP. There's just a lot. I know there's not like big national ones. I know like the Daniels Fund is for high school students, but like, ooh, there's tea about that.
Well, let me tell you, with a lot of local Denver metro area scholarship organization, just from my experience working for VIP and 1Gen, Linda Alfredo are very well connected with these folks. So in terms of connecting, of any type of advocacy they do and what I was doing, please apply for them.
Yeah, I just remembered like a super important one for DU. This is not made public, but if you go on Pioneer Web, there is this application called the Departmental Scholarship that you need to fill out because that gives you access to like all the scholarships that your major offers. So like, yeah, I didn't know about that. I literally heard a rumor about it like first year and like kind of went searching for it and found this like really interesting like.
Money?
Yeah, no, I just like found this form like online, and like it only takes, I don't know, just like 2 hours to fill out, but literally like half of my scholarships are from that, and it's just like something that not a lot of people know about, and I don't know why, but definitely go looking for it in Pioneer Web.
They're trying to keep that money.
For real though.
Like, we're trying to keep our bread.
There's so many forms on that
Yeah,
page.
especially right now with their sorry. No, and then like another thing is merit scholarships. They still are given to you throughout your years. I don't know if this is true for everyone, but my first year I was paying out of pocket. I didn't get like that much a lot of scholarships or anything. But then my next year, the second year, and also my third year, I've gotten way more merit scholarships just because of my grades and like also like that I've met these requirements. Like I didn't even know these scholarships existed, but the financial aid office gives them to you based on your merit and like how you're doing grades and stuff like that and your need. So I didn't know about that. So like after that, I'm not paying out of pocket anymore. But I just want to give that heads up because I know a lot of people for sure like, I don't really need that. It's a hard transition. Yeah.
Usually, and this happens, and this is generally a trend in higher ed, is that your first year is usually your biggest financial aid package based on, a lot of universities, And what you'll see is that a lot of it after your first year, if you're more attentive, you'll kind of see those numbers go down based on
rises.
Yeah,
too.
tuition rises when
Oh,
those numbers stay the same.
Yeah.
A lot of those, and a lot of universities like to offer a lot of financial aid, and like I said, not
To
putting
get you.
DU out there, but a lot of institutions to get you to come to their school.
Yeah.
So just something to be cognizant and to always be active in your scholarship search
Mhm.
process.
And an option to always keep in mind is that there's always like the applications to be an RA on campus. Like my
Yes.
second year, like that really saved my life because I didn't have enough like scholarships to like pay for that year. So I'd applied to be an RA and I got it. So like housing and food was covered. So that was like what $15,000 in one go.
And you work as like a desk assistant,
Yeah.
right? You can get paid for that.
You can
too,
get
right?
paid for that too. But it's definitely something like to keep in mind. It is a big commitment, but you save money.
Yeah, especially
save
if
a lot of
you
money.
have like I know for what is it the first 2 years like you are required to live on campus.
Yeah.
So there's a way to kind of get out of that. I remember I was commuting my first 2 years just because I couldn't afford it, and then I didn't. Well, first year you can't be like an RA obviously,
Mhm.
but second year I didn't apply just because I was just so busy with like working off campus and stuff like that. But like yeah, like you said, I would definitely recommend that because I was only able to because I live in Aurora, literally like 30 minutes away, so I was always in the radios.
Yeah. We both went to the same high school actually. We figured this out a while ago.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, Ranger U.
Thank you.
Wait,
Everyone's
this is
like,
not.
everyone's
this
like,
is,
shut
this
up.
is a University of Denver.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
You got us.
podcast.
We were the like, I'm kidding. Okay. Does anyone else want to say anything? Okay.
I would say in terms of RA, definitely apply. Don't be timid around that. A lot of our housing staff really pride themselves on usually getting our students from our access and transition program because a lot of RAs and a lot of RA staffs across the country are very much privileged, and to have a diverse staff is something they pride themselves on. And specifically, Dr. Carrie Ponicar and then Ebenezer, who are housing folks, they're always resources for y'all, especially current RAs right now. If you're timid about reaching out to them, definitely make those connections.
And they're gonna probably keep it honest with you too, like about their experience. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Robert?
Let's see, 4.
Why? Just 'cause-
Special number for my fraternity. So
Oh,
That makes sense.
ooh, okay. Is it okay to be in student debt?
Of course.
I would say if it's necessary and you know you're gonna get like you're just gonna pay back, then I think it's worth taking like that risk. But you definitely gotta manage it. I know some people who took it out more than they need to spend that money like on vacations and stuff, and like it's cool, but that stuff can wait till afterwards. You know, like if you don't have the money to do that vacation for now, then maybe at the moment maybe you might just like make it wait for a little bit. And this is like mandatory. That's like your parents are getting married like in Mexico or something. Then okay, that's like kind of a half the trip, you know. But if you don't have to do it, don't. But if you like feel like you have to do it, but your job, you know, your job's gonna pay out, then I think it's okay to take that risk. But just make sure you manage them very well.
Yeah, it's definitely a risk. I don't think that it's like not okay to have student debt at all. Like, I feel like if you have student debt, like there shouldn't be like any shame with that. Like you shouldn't be like beating yourself up because you had to take out a loan. Like I don't think that's like definitely a thing. But yeah, no, of course. Like going back to that point, you definitely should like calculate like the risk you're taking. Like I'm definitely in student debt right now, but it's like I'm taking the risk that I can get a job. Like this is kind of like a stepping stone for me to get to that point, for me to pay off like the debt in the future. So I definitely like took that on.
yeah, as someone who recently completed his graduate school, I would say it's something I had to do, and because while I was working as a grad assistant, only half my tuition was covered, and I had a stipend, which kept me afloat. But you know, I did a lot of things to keep my debt as low as I could. I lived at home. As in Aurora, I was commuting. You know, anytime I could cook food or go to student events, so I kind of felt like an undergrad in grad school. It's pretty cool to keep my budget and my expenses at a low. I think one thing is that student loans, it's enticing because you have access to a lot of things and you don't necessarily pay it off until the end. But sometimes interest can accumulate. That's very important. And also, you have a high balance at the end. So make sure that you're very intentional. Don't be scared of them, but definitely navigate it and be intentional with
Be
what you
smart
borrow,
about it.
and have when you borrow, make sure that that is going to go to something directly that you need, not necessarily something that you want. Is my best recommendation.
I don't. I dislike when people like to pick on other people for being in student debt. That's what like bothers me because I have heard it like people like who have friends are like, oh my god, you're really like $30,000 a day, like really,
Yeah.
like, and I feel like that's just so like sad because it's like that puts like that person down and it's like, oh damn, it makes you doubt yourself again about like was it really worth it and stuff like that. So I just want to give advice like don't listen to those type of friends like in a way like you kind of know what's best for you versus what everyone else at the end of the day. I just wanted to throw that out there. But with the student debt, I think like everyone said and made it clear like don't be irresponsible about it. Like don't use it like to go. I mean, yeah, if you're the person who likes to travel, so be it. It's your cup of tea. But like be smart about it because it does catch up to you. Later on. If it doesn't hit you now, it will eventually. I don't think. I mean, it's normal in college to talk about like a lot of people make jokes like, "Oh, I'm in student debt," like ramen every night. Ramen, you just.
Hey, I had a really awesome ramen recipe in college.
Ramen's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, you ever seen Naruto? That's how it
Ooh, hell yeah, let's go.
Really?
Like, but yeah, I feel like it's nothing to be ashamed about either. Like I know people like.
Don't let people shame you. Yeah, that's like so messed up.
Yeah. And especially some older folk or folk who've gone to college at a different age. I think that's something we talk about older adults or grandparents or parents even.
Yeah.
They'll be like, really? Well, back in my day, I
Yeah.
went to college for a dime. I'm like, well,
Listen, inflation,
It's
like.
economy.
and the culture of higher education has made the cost go up, like skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily your fault. It's a lot of the ways how we fund things or different programs have been cut. So I think knowing the political reasons why things have changed is also good for not feeling bad.
We cost more than Harvard, right?
Yeah. Just so weird because we don't have as much as
We're
Harvard
not
does.
Harvard quality. Like no offense. There's nothing wrong.
We are the Harvard of the West.
As though the enrollment numbers.
We see them knocking on the window right now, admissions and stuff.
Like, what'd you say?
You're gonna see all those torches walk that way again. The parking lot.
I think no.
What?
But like that just blows. I just want to put that out there. That blows my mind. Like I saw someone. I think I saw someone tweet that, or it was up somewhere on social media. Where it's like we cost more than Stanford and Harvard and these places. And
That's
I'm like,
surprising, to be honest.
why? Why do you say that?
I mean, because I figured that like Harvard would be more expensive than DU, just because the reputation it has.
They just have like a really big donation pool.
Endowment.
Yeah, the endowment's
We're
like
talking
ridiculous.
about in the $1 billion range.
Yeah,
Can you talk
'cause they
about
are
what
Harvard.
endowment is for those who don't
Yeah, so a university's endowment is essentially all money that they can use for whatever they want. It's like kind of their slush fund. So outside of like their budget, an endowment is just money they can pull for whatever. So a lot of that can be financial aid. So that's why you see like a lot of Ivy Leagues have this like promise scholarship where if your parents make less than $60,000 combined, your full tuition is fully covered. Like, well, how do they fund that? Well, they have a lot of endowment money that they can just pull from easily.
Yeah, it's just like not all colleges are on the same like level in terms of like money, and sadly, like DU just isn't at that point. So
They like to flex, like they
Yeah.
do.
like to flex,
We're
but
doing all this construction.
yeah, they're trying. And like the construction in part is also like why like our tuition's so much nowadays too. So
I mean, they're making more dorms, aren't they?
yeah.
It's not like the ones they have are full already.
Yeah, I mean like they had to take out loans for the construction, so it's like
They did.
yeah, we have to pay it back anyway at some point.
You're not gonna be able to use it
No,
anyway.
I know. Like I'm graduating
That's right.
this year, so
So
like
they're
there's
trying
no
to keep
point.
those scholarships, man. Let's say about the application.
Okay.
That's funny.
Well, that was something for y'all. Next question.
7.
7. Who or what helped you during the financial aid application process?
Ooh.
So you guys can talk about like undergrad and graduate year.
I'll go with undergrad because I was a hassle. So I was the first one to come back to school from my family, and doing the whole financial aid. I was seriously calling the financial aid office all the time because I was just getting these questions. I had no idea what they were. I was like, what the hell does this mean? And then I would call them. Oh, you just need to show these things and put these in. Oh, okay, for sure. I'll hang up. And like 5 minutes later, I'll call them back. What about this thing? Like, so I was like definitely calling. I was definitely going to like because I went to Front Range in Longmont. And I was going there. I was going to the office to make appointments to make sure everything was done right. So I pretty much did it on my own, but I had a lot of help from the resources at From Range, which helped me a lot. Which I wish I would have like done my application with them, but it is what it is. It was an experience, but it was definitely a life-changing experience for sure.
I'm glad you weren't scared to call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of
that's
our
good.
students here are so scared to even like talk to anyone for financial aid or like worried like they're gonna sound dumb or something
Yeah.
like that. Like
You,
I
you,
like that you say you literally would drive there like
you call
what's
them
up?
and call them multiple times, grill them
Please.
because it's their job. They're
Yeah.
getting paid
Yeah,
to
literally.
do this.
Dude, no, I like got through the FAFSA like on my own somehow, and then when the CSS, like when it was the time to fill out the CSS, I like had a lot of trouble because it was like asking things like, what is your, like, what is the mortgage that you need to pay off for that current house you're living in? I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to find that? Like, what the hell? And then it was like, do you own like assets or something? And I don't know. It was just like really confusing.
Does your family own like a farm? or
Yeah,
something?
it was
I
like,
just
does your family own a farm?
like,
I'm
not
like,
that.
I don't know.
We got a
They got a natural
No, I just like I use a lot of like the internet and also like calling financial aid to like figure it out because I was like, dude, like you give us no guidance. Like, how do you expect us to fill it out as like first generation like students? You know, like our parents can only help us so far, you know,
Yeah.
and like mine don't know English that well, so it's like I don't know, like I can't just show them the form and be like, can you help me fill it out? Because it just wouldn't work. So it's been a struggle for the
Like,
last.
they want you to translate something you didn't even know how to translate.
I know you're like mortgage.
Well, like with me, it's been different every year. Like, what was the question? Sorry. 7? Right? Yeah, who helped or what helped? Well, my senior year, definitely, it was a program for me called College Track. For you who don't know, or for those who do know, like, shout out to my College Track peeps. Oh, you want me to move?
Yeah.
Okay, George is being our tech person.
Okay.
Great, good angle. George, now you're not even an angle.
I mean, the videos behind them.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, so at high school, who helped me was an organization called College Track. They helped me understand what FAFSA even was, the CSS profile, like all these things I didn't even know about. I didn't even know like financial aid. Like honestly, when I saw the price tag to all these colleges, like it's $50K a year or $70K a year, like here, I honestly thought people were paying that. I was like, whoa, like I can't pay that. Like,
Wild. Yeah.
well, that's not me. Like I don't know. And like I didn't know that. And funny story is, little story time. My counselor almost set me up to not come here, scammed me almost. Shout out to Rangeview High School.
They're
This
outside the
counselor-
window.
You're not
What's
associate anymore.
It's canceled.
Top.
Nah. But I had my counselor. I did a program here called LPP, and I got like a scholarship of like $30,000, but it would be divided in those 4 years. To me, that was great. I was like, whoa, I found like money, at least like half like. I mean, it wasn't a lot to the tuition, but it was something, you know, compared to what I thought at the time. And I went in, was in the first 2 weeks my senior year started, and I told my counselor, hey, like I did the summer program and I got a scholarship for DU, and like at the time it was I wanted to be here, like it was my number 1 school for in-state at least. If I was gonna stay in-state, this was the school I wanted to come to. And I was telling him, and then he was just like, I thought he was gonna be like, that's great, like woo, like hype me up too. And then he was like, his face was even excited. He was like, oh, he's like, that's not enough to cover DU's tuition. Let's
Well
look
done.
at different, options and stuff. And like great, like reality check, yeah, true, it is true, like reality check. But I wish he would have worded it a different way, because that just made me feel so down. And like I was honestly mad. I was upset. I had called my mom, and like I remember she was just like, she was pissed a little bit too. She was just like, ignore him, like you don't need that. Like she's like, we'll figure it out and stuff. And I was just so yeah, literally. She's like, who's that? She's like, who is he to you? And like, and she's like, he doesn't feed you, put a house over your head. I'm like, you're right, mom. You're right.
Just suck that tea right back up.
Because like he was like, let's look at different colleges, and I was just like, damn, like.
What a dick.
Yeah, no, like being straight up, not the way to word it. Like if you're gonna be a counselor, learn how to talk to your students.
Absolutely.
And like, I was just so like discouraged at that point, because I get it, yeah, the reality check. But at the same time, his like he could have been like, that's great. Let's look into some other options to also find the rest of that money, like because let's be honest, that's not like a lot. But like, let's find other ways. He didn't even offer different options. He didn't say let's look into like different scholarships to cover that rest. He just said let's look at different colleges. And that was like, to me, like, damn, like you don't want me to go there? Like, okay, cool. That honestly pushed me more. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna go there. better watch. And like, so I went to college track with this. I was telling them, because it was literally an everyday after school program. And like, of course, we were doing like the senior year, we were applying for colleges, and they were just like, where do you want to go? I was like, well, I want to go to DU, but I don't think I can afford it. And they were just like, oh, we'll figure it out. We're gonna apply for financial aid. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, they're like, it's a way for you to get money. And I was just like, they do that? I was like, oh, okay, like great. Like I didn't. They're like, and some of it's like it's just merit based or grant based and stuff. And they taught me the differences between merits, grants, loans. They did all that, and like I was so happy about that, honestly, because I didn't know about that. I didn't know we could get free money off of like just being a Colorado resident and coming to college. Like I didn't know that. And then they also helped me like look for different scholarships. They helped me find. I know there's a scholarship program here called PUCSA. I applied for that. Didn't get it. Shout out to them. but I mean, like, yeah, we applied. Like, honestly, like, it didn't stop me though, because even though I got waitlisted for them, and then I got denied. But like, I still was like applying to so many scholarships that year. You have no idea. And like, it never discouraged me though, because at the end of the day, I still came and I still made it work. So that was kind of my experience, my first like coming into my senior year, and the rest of the years here on college so far, like. Who's been helping me is, of course, like our programs like when you do VIP, when they do these workshops, or even on campus when they do the FAFSA CSS workshops and stuff. And of course, like I said, the newsletters always hit you up with those scholarships. So that's been nice. That's who's been helping me at least.
Hey, shout out to Linda because she's actually
she's actually back here. Yay! We get the soundboard. Let's go. And now we're here getting us the bread, literally. But yeah, that's who helped me, honestly. Like on campus, like I love that we have this type of support because, like you said, like parents sometimes they don't understand this. Like, of course, my parents were there to help, like emotionally, and like be there and support, but like they really can't, sometimes understand or really do much.
Exactly.
They can only
like,
do. So.
They've never done it before, so it's kind of like we're pretty much teaching them as we're learning with them, So.
I think the moment in my undergrad that I can remember where I learned the most about financial aid, I kind of just navigate a lot of it my first couple years, but where I was like, whoa, I really don't have any way of going by this is when I decided to study abroad. And let me tell you, I thought study abroad was intimidating.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, I don't know how I'm going to afford this. I can't even afford right now the plane ticket to get me to where I'm going. But there's staff there, and then obviously friends that had gone back from study abroad, that they told me all the type of financial aid that was available. I say this, and for y'all who know me, you probably heard me say this before, that there is so much money for study abroad financial aid that goes unclaimed because folks think it's too expensive. So, yeah. Yeah. So definitely claim it. I know at one point when I studied abroad, I was like, okay, I have the financial aid that I need to just go and I'll work more hours in my work study jobs to give me some spending money. It's going to be tight. Probably won't be able to afford gifts. And then I applied for a scholarship called the Gilman Scholarship or the Gilman Scholar Program. So essentially, the State Department funded the rest of my trip and gave me quite a pretty penny for expenses I already met, and that was based on me being Latino, me learning Arabic, me going to. So it's definitely one of those things where it's just like, wow, I got a lot more financial aid than I ever expected doing that. So when your financial aid process comes around for study abroad, be excited about it because there's a lot of opportunities to fund yourself.
Good.
Yeah.
It's your turn, right?
Okay. I'm gonna do this one. So I'm gonna choose 10. I'm cheating. What was your experience like filling out FAFSA and the CSS profile?
My God, the first time in high school was so scary because I was told that the faster you fill it out, the more money you can get, which is kind of true. No,
it is kind of true.
Yeah. It just depends.
Right?
Yeah, but back then I didn't really know what the FAFSA or CSS was, and then on top of that you had to pay extra money to fill out the CSS or something. So it was just really, I was
$25.
Yeah. So I was just really confused about what was going on. I filled out the FAFSA first with help because I just didn't know what tax forms I needed or whatever. That was a mess. And then the CSS came. The CSS came, and I was like, oh my God, this is horrendous. The amount of stuff you needed to know for that, I was like, I can't do this. Filling it out each year, the CSS just gives me such a hard time compared to the FAFSA. But yeah, I just haven't had good experiences filling out either one of them each year.
My senior year definitely was the worst year because again you're going to it like new, like you don't know what to expect. And also I think I don't know, it happens every year. Me and my mom constantly fight over filling out FAFSA or CSS. Like the smallest fights start over it because it's always like those questions like, so what is the mortgage like? How much you pay and stuff like that. And she's just like, I don't know, man. How do you expect me to know? I'm like, I don't know either. Like, how do you like?
This is your house.
Yeah, I told her this is your house. This ain't under my name. Like
She gave you the like, excuse me.
yeah, and the card and asked about cards and stuff like that. And she's just like, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I told her like, do we have any assets? She just looks at me like,
It's like, what?
yeah, like what? Like
You got a farm?
yeah, and like I remember that first year, it was just like the FAFSA. It went okay just because I did it with my program called College Track, and they were there with my mom and me, and they actually did something like during FAFSA. I guess you could do like a IRS to like retrieval thing, so
Yeah.
you don't have to automatically like type
And I
in.
think they make you use it now. Back in the day, you could kind of get around it.
Yeah. But
So
yeah, no. No, go for it.
oh well, that's what they kind of used. Like they would just like they typed it in. Like my mom didn't have to really do anything with her taxes, so that was it. But they didn't do that workshop with CSS just because it was very specific. Because I was the one like it's just DU. I don't know what other schools use this. Hi. Sorry. And I just remember like being at home and like stressing out because it was like it asks you those little tedious questions like worse than FAFSA, and like my mom just always gets frustrated herself because she doesn't know and she hates not knowing the answer to things, so that's why we always fight about it. Like it's so annoying. And then she's like, I don't know here, like she gives me her little taxes form, and then I'm just like, so how much is? She's like, look on there. I'm just like, how do you not remember? Like how do you not know? We get into like a big fight. It's so unnecessary. It's so dumb. Like that's the only reason why I kind of dread it too, because I dread asking my mom and like looking at the information myself and like that process because it's not.
It gets better. It gets easier.
Yeah. No.
Only thing, write down your password somewhere.
Yeah.
Don't reset your password every time. Like it can every
year you
I'm
reset
like,
it.
oh, it's reset
And don't
password
expect
time.
your parents to remember the passwords either, or like what they email. Because I remember my mom. I was like, "So, do you remember your password?" She's like, "No," and I was just like, "Okay."
I'm like, all right, meaning, all right.
Yeah, no.
Let's start this over.
DU. So like my first year here, like going into my second year, I had filled out the FAFSA and CSS. And DU like does this thing sometimes where they'll like double check your forms, and then like on your Pioneer web you'll see like your entire form's under review or something scary like that. That they're like double check.
They randomly pick.
Yeah, they randomly pick, and it's like, don't get frightened by that. Like, cause I know like when I first got that, I was like, oh shit, like did I fill out the wrong like mortgage? Yeah. But yeah, just be patient with it, cause like I know like one year it took almost like up until September for them to like finalize it, and I was like, damn, you guys suck. Like, I thought I wasn't gonna have enough money to come here again. So, yeah, just be patient with it. They'll get it done. And if not, just like spam them with the emails. Yeah.
Yeah, just with them, like it was just a disaster. Like trying to figure everything out, and over here like googling stuff. Whatever form I need, like this form, and then it's just because you leave a lot of spots empty, too. Because when you think about it, like a lot of stuff they ask for you don't really need. But it's just like that first time doing it, you're not sure. Like, oh, I left that empty. Did I sure that? Like, I didn't need to fill that out. Like, all these doubts just kind of hit your mind after the first time you do it, anyways.
And it was scary for me. I totally forgot about this part. For me, like my father's like he's undocumented, so I had no idea how to put that down. And I had no idea how to share that information. Like I never ever shared it. So at college check, it was me and my mom, but my dad, they were asking like, so what's your dad's social? And I was just like,
Oh.
I was like, who? I was like, how do I explain this? And like, so I was able to figure it out. Like they helped me with that because it's just a different process when you're like, when you have a parent who's undocumented and stuff like that. But so that process, like I was so nervous, especially with my dad, because I don't like this seems like a little like battery thing, but like that first year, that senior year, we got like that's the reason why I fought with him too, because he was just so scared to put that information down, because he thought like, oh my god, they're gonna find out I'm illegal and like I get deported, all that stuff like that. And I was just like, literally, no, like it's fine, like you're gonna be okay. And like I remember too, the financial aid department called my mom's number, and they're like, hey, like as the parent number 2, you put down this like social security, like why? And my mom was like, why? Like because there's like he doesn't like have one. And they're like, oh, okay, now we understand. And that was totally fine. And then they were like, oh, we're gonna keep this on file so we won't have to worry about this again and stuff like that. But I kid you not, every year they always bring that question up to me. It's like, why is this not filled out? And I'm just like, he is undocumented. Like, that is why. Like, I cannot give you a social security. Like, I'm sorry. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, I tell you this every year to put this in my file. And like, they always forget, or like, it's just always that situation. And like, I don't even like tell, like, me and my mom, we don't tell him, like, my first year he knows about it, but the rest of the years I haven't told him like, oh, it's put down like that, just because I avoid that fight with him, and I don't want to scare him, especially right now.
Well, you should expose yourself on the podcast.
He's not watching it. He doesn't have my parents don't have social media, thankfully. Oh my god, because they are crazy. But yeah, just for those of you, you know, like if you could relate to that type of situation, I think that's what kind of made it harder, and that made it kind of that was that fear too a little bit there. But like now it's like it's better. And still a hassle, like, or it still gets a little annoying where. It was weird too. I got sent an email that was like, oh yeah, it was sketchy too because usually you know how they have signatures and everything. The financial aid department. This one didn't have a signature, so I was scared because I was like, yo, like this is a trick or something. I remember I went to Alfredo and I was like, hey, can you check this out for me? And like he checked it out, and it was a person in financial aid, but he told this person like, hey, you need to always include signatures and stuff like that because that's professional. And it's like, again like that.
Yeah,
security.
It looks weird. Yeah, literally, the security.
And that's just, it's so important that you realize that there are a lot of people, financial aid staff, who don't know how to do these things. They're not updated on policy. And but at the same time, there are also staff like myself, Linda, Alfredo, Yulia, George, who are more versed in helping you navigate that. So if you haven't, feel free, if you want to come to us with your financial aid package, we have all, I know for a matter of fact, we have all the software, the same one that the advisors do to look all this information up, your data up, that we can help you navigate. We may not be able to change it in the moment, but at least we know the people to call to make sure that happens. So don't be timid about coming to us with your financial aid packages or any questions, and that's something that always takes up quite a bit of our time, and we're more than happy to. We want to, because it can be confusing, and we don't want your students, when you're involved in academics, you're involved in student groups, or you're an athlete, being worried about financial aid packages should be the least of your worries. So we'll help you navigate that. Yeah. But that's not me anymore.
What time is it, by chance?
We got like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, one more question.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, bye.
See you next time.
Are you coming in again?
I think so.
Did you like this?
Yeah, no,
Okay. Well, we'll see you again.
Thanks for
Say
having
bye.
me. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining.
Bye.
Should I just get down? So
Yeah.
You're like, yes. And then you get away from him.
Oh, yes.
And then there were 3.
Cool.
It's okay. Pick a number.
Let's go with 3.
What is the worst way to spend your money?
Ooh.
You're laughing.
He's gonna put us on
Yeah,
blast like
this-
that.
The worst way to spend my money. Probably drinking, to be honest.
I
I'm not gonna lie, probably drinking for sure. However, like what Rob was saying, it's kind of like you need to have fun sometimes, though, But I guess sometimes, like, I think just middle of the night, some days I just get carried away, But then I'm like, yeah, my mom, I just wasted like a lot of money at the bar, but I just had a good time with friends, So it's just pros and cons, pros and cons. Like,
we need to get you a T-shirt that always says "However." I feel like that's like your phrase.
because I was like, even though there's always a negative, I just take the positive to it and vice versa. Because there's always like a positive and negative something, right?
Yeah.
So you always gotta emphasize both things. Like, does the good outweigh the bad, or does the bad outweigh the good? And you decide from there if it was a good choice or not.
I want to
Preach.
George is right. And I want to expand that to say, like, these little things that we do from week to week really do add up. So some things that we should, like I said in the last one, we can indulge, right? But we want to do it for the right moments in our lives and with our friends. If you're like eating out every day, that's something that for college students, that is something.
It's easy to do.
It's easy to do. I remember I had this conversation as a work study student at CU, and one of my friends, she would eat at. Sorry. So one of my friends, she would go to Chipotle every day, and and I was just like conversating, and she was just like, "What do you think about it? $8 to $9 every day, 5 times a day, and that's like $40, $50." And it's like I never thought about that. Well, that's $50 could be groceries for 2 weeks if you know.
It
what
really
I mean.
can, yeah.
And they're like definitely like I love Chipotle. I'll go out and get some. You know, but it's something that perhaps you want to reconsider the way you spend or set up your budget differently. So maybe if you aren't into eating every day, perhaps you go out less on the weekends. So you have to balance things out, you know, and that's growing as an adult when you do those things because budgeting never stops. If you get not a full-time job, budgeting doesn't stop. Your expenses just look different. That's it.
He's got more money to do stuff, you know.
Yeah, more money.
Like I might have more money to spend like on the weekends, but I'll still be able to cover all my bills, you know.
Yeah.
So just find that perfect balance.
Yeah, I think my worst way I spend money is definitely like it just depends. Like what type of week it is. Like low key, like well this year I've been trying to fix this problem. I've been spending the worst way I've been spending my money this year is just shopping on clothes. I really don't need more clothes, but like I've been having like low key it's been like an addiction of mine. Like I've been buying new shirts.
You get everything from summer cheap now, you know what I mean?
No, yeah I did. I literally like I see like the shops like Girl 21 stuff like that. They have like these tank tops that used to be $20 now it's down to like $4. And like literally I have a package today. I have to go to the mall and go pick up clothes. I'm so ashamed of it, but like it's the truth. Like honestly, like that's the worst way I spent my money this year. But like being a commuter my first 2 years, the worst way I would spend my money is food. It would be food. And like honestly, I couldn't like.
They're gonna say gas.
No. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true too. But the good thing about that, like here on campus, was your what, tuition. You get like your RTE pass, and it's free. It's covered. I would take that light rail. So don't be scared to ever take public transportation.
I got two.
For the alumni, actually.
Two. I have two. They gave me one on accident.
Because I went to Metro State.
Yeah, sell it to somebody.
Because I got mine from Metro State and it still works even though I graduated.
Yeah. Apparently the one from
They're
DU
listening
never.
to this and they said decline.
Yeah, the ones from DU never stopped working. I've talked to alumni and we talked about it. Like they've been 2 years, 3 years out.
Yeah.
And it still works. Mine still works. So
Well, I think it was one of my friends. One of our work study students. I'm not gonna say her name. But she's here on campus. She told me her sisters stopped working right after she graduated. I was like, huh. I don't know about that. I was like, dang. Like, but I've heard people say that.
My one from CU, they cut that down after like 3 months. And I was like,
Damn.
He said, what a shame.
nah, I got it.
Yeah, I graduated from Metro 2018. It's been like a year and a half already, and that still works, and I still use it.
No, well, like, yeah, like my worst was spending money on food just because I could have meal prepped, honestly. Like, to be honest, like there's groceries at home. It was easier like that. But I was just always so busy and like I just spend money like getting food and stuff. And also, this is just more personal stuff. I was spending a lot of my money at the time I was in a relationship on my partner.
Oh.
I would
You would pay for him?
I paid for all of our dates. I would because he was like, I felt I'm putting myself on.
And
this
he
spot.
let you go?
Yeah!
I got no hopes in this world
We'll
now,
talk
man.
about this next week in relationships.
Okay, that was a preview of next week.
Men are basura.
Well, because I felt bad because he didn't get a lot of financial aid. He goes to college as well. A different college. But I was blessed, like, I know that, like, I was blessed enough to not be able to worry that much financially in school. So that's why, but I was also working and doing a job off campus. I was a birthday hostess at Skate City. And I would get tips. I would get mad tips, I kid you not. Like, on a Saturday with birthday parties, I would probably get a good $200 in tips. And then I wasn't, like, taxed on those tips either. Like, it was just cash. Like, they gave me it out of the register because every day they'll get it from card. And like that was, and then I did both weekends, so 200, and then on Sundays I would get like another 100. So I was getting mad racks like in tips, like low key, like I was a stripper shop.
And that's for all undergrads. If you guys looking like to make some quick money and not work that many hours, if you hustle being a waiter, like you can make really good tips in a very short amount of time.
That was my hustle on the side.
You just gotta work. You just gotta work hard at it, though. You know what I mean? Like it is something that you put a lot of effort. You do get paid out from your customers.
So that was my hustle on the side, but like it was going quickly because at the time my partner, I was just really nice about it. I was like, oh, he doesn't work. Like here, I'll pay for it. Like it's fine. Like it was adding up though, because I would know like Monday to Friday I wouldn't be spending money crazy, but when we would have our time on the weekend, I would spend bad, like on dates, on foods, on whenever we would go out to eat, on whenever we would go out to like places like the illegit or like just fun places like that. But it started adding up, and it would get expensive because it's like not only am I buying a ticket for myself, but I was buying the tickets for him, and that adds up quickly. And like that was the worst way I was spending my money, to be honest. When honestly I should have been like, you know what, let's not do anything. You know, like honestly, like this is putting a debt in my financial But that was kind of like the worst way I was spending it on someone else. And yeah, and like I say that because I know there's people here like not even just a relationship, but even friendships too. Like I understand, like I've been that friend too who's like very nice and generous. That's like, hey, here, I'll buy you this and stuff like that. But it adds up if you're doing it all the time, you know.
Yeah. Can expand this conversation also to food, especially for our first quarter, first semester, first year students is the first refund check you get. Not spending that, because that is the one I think for a lot of students is a big exposure to having a very
huge
influx of money.
Because they don't see how much money in their lives, you know?
Yeah. So I remember my first refund check was pretty hefty, and I was like thought about doing some stuff, and then my mom called me like second week, and she was like, and because my older brother told him about the refund check, he's like,
he snitched you out.
yeah, he's like, no está gastando esa feria like de lujo, and you know, I was like, oh, well, I wanted to do stuff with it, but then I budgeted. She told me like budget it out, and that's what I would do for my refund checks from there on out. Just use it to kind of help my rent go down, some bills, grocery shopping, things like that. On top of the work studies I have, but I've heard like other nightmare stories with people with their refund checks. You know, they'll get several $1,000s, and they'll for some reason like spend it within the first month, use it as a down payment for a really new car that they can't afford after that, and it's just kind of irresponsible things, because you know it is the first time we'll have to see money, and a lot of times or maybe our parents haven't, and people in our lives haven't talked to us about having that type of money. So I think it's something to navigate and to definitely be transparent with your parents about, hey, I got a refund check, like how should I go by spending this, if you're comfortable with that.
Like, so my first year I was paying out of pocket, but then my second year, that was the first year I was starting to see those refund checks. And like I remember that first quarter, I was like, whoa, like great, like extra money, like what should I get? Like I was so excited because I was like, I could do anything. Like I was like, I could buy a ticket somewhere, like I could do stuff. Like, and I remember my mom, she only knew about it because I'm connected to her U.S. bank.
Yeah.
So she was able to see how much my bank account went up. She was just, she creeps on it. Like, she hella checks, like, she didn't see what I buy or stuff like that. But she saw, like, she called me one day, and I was like, yeah, what's up? She's like, hey, so why was this much money deposited in your bank account? I was like, oh, she knows. I was like, damn it. Like, because I know she is the one that's always, like, save your money.
Mom's no best.
I can't go on my trip no more.
No, I was like, yeah, I get to, like, plan trips right now. Like, I was so excited. I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Nah, she was just like, oh, she's like, Mija, she's like, take care of that. Like, don't spend it. I was just like, I remember I was like, it's my money. Like, I could, but, like, she told me, she was like, you could do what you want. She's like, but honestly, save it. She's like, do not spend it. Do not go crazy with it. Like,
well, and they'll tell you, like, use it for when emergencies happen, and they do happen. There are critical points where you need a bit of money, and there'll always be points that you'll need cash on hand to spend, even as an adult. Even with, you know, a very nice salary, you still should have an emergency fund, and it's a good practice to start it early with your refund checks.
The emergency happened for me and my family during the summer. This summer, actually, like something happened. So I had those 3 refund checks still saved. I mean, granted from whatever I didn't spend and stuff like that. Yeah. I was able to use some of that to help out my family. Like, cause my parents, they never want to bug me or anything. Like, I feel bad because I tell them, like, I always want to help them out and stuff. They've always helped me, and they're the reason why I'm such the person I am, like the caring, giving person I am, because they're just so caring, giving themselves to people around them. And we just were in a tight spot in the summer, and I told them, like, you know, just use my money, it's fine. Like, and they were like, they felt so bad. They're like, no, like, we're gonna pay you back and stuff. I was like, I don't, honestly, like, I won't really use it. Like, this is like you guys can use it and stuff like that. And they felt really bad about it. And they didn't use all of it. They used some of it, but they were like, no, we'll just take this. This is all we need and stuff. I was like, well, you just let me know, because honestly, like, I have no problem with it. Yeah. And that's what I mean. Like, I think if I didn't have that saved up, we probably would have, like, been in deeper shit, to be honest, like, or in that current situation. But because I had that saved up, it was able to help my parents' current situation.
There's a lot of people who also do like it's called Money Smart or Money Sense.
It's an investment where you put like money.
Yeah, well, they set you up in these plans to be smart about money. So they're a resource. I mean, they shouldn't dictate exactly how you spend money because they don't necessarily know a lot of times culturally why we need to spend the money that we do. But it's always a good resource nonetheless.
I know now what was my bank was US Bank. Now they tell you in detail what you're spending your money on.
Yeah.
And I've been using that. That's how I know shopping because it's like
Humble you down.
yeah, it tells you like it's like on food, on like again entertainment, gas, stuff like that. And mine has been like shopping. So that's how I'm able to tell. So it calls you out now. So if you're one of those people that's like, wow, why am I losing money? Then gaming. Like you should look into like downloading the app for whatever bank you have and seeing like if they have that option to like be able to show you like where is all your money going. Literally. Like I know it's not all going to that ramen, like you know damn well. Okay, let me do another question.
7 minutes.
Yeah, 7 minutes.
Okay. Which ones did we do? I feel like we answered a lot of these. Oh, okay. Were you ever scared about paying for college?
Yes.
Who wants to start?
I guess I'll go. Yeah, because like it's like you want to go to school but you can't afford it. That's like the biggest risk, and it was like the biggest scare as well, you know. But I guess for me, like I had to do what I had to do. I had to work full time to pay for school, and yeah, it sucked. I probably didn't have the college experience that most people had because I was going to a commuter campus. I was a little bit older too. So I mean, but it is what it is. I had to do what I had to do. I mean, I paid for it. Working full time sucked.
Yeah,
Having no weekends, going to school full time during the week. It was horrible, but at the end of the day, like you sacrifice something to get something in return as well. So yeah, it sucked. Everyone's scared to pay for school, but if it's a sacrifice, we have to make it. Not a sacrifice; it's an investment that we make.
I think I was sorry.
No, you can go.
I think I was most scared going into college because I had applied and I had done everything they asked me to, but I was just waiting. I was like waiting for financial aid packages to come in. I was like legitimately scared, and sometimes they would be slow to trickle in. So immediately like, oh, I know I'm gonna get the Pell Grant, but I need more. So I mean, at the time I was even like thinking like, well, I mean, perhaps I should do the military before that, and I was like literally had online with a recruiter at the time, and then the financial aid started coming through, and they were like in excess, and I was like, I just wasn't familiar with the process, so I didn't have college track near the high school at the time to help me navigate. That's okay, but yeah, it's something that you're gonna get more comfortable with, and to be scared is a natural response.
Another story time. I was so scared because again, like I didn't know about financial aid, so I was like, I honestly thought people were paying $70,000 to come here. I was like, whoa. Like,
Some people did.
Yeah, some people do.
Their parents do.
Their parents.
Must be nice.
Not them. But I think I was so scared because at the time, senior year, I didn't have a job yet. And senior year was the year I started getting a job. That's when I started working for Skate City. And I started like saving up money because I honestly was like, oh, I don't know how much I'm going to have to pay. And like, I didn't know yet because at the time, it was weird because I got 2 different financial aid package, like how it looks. So when I first got it, it looked like I was going to have to pay like $5,000 like out of pocket and stuff like that. Which I know to some people are probably like, the privileged people in here, like, that's nothing, Like, for me and my family, that was literally, like, probably, like, a quarter of their, their income.
I think my mom told me, like, you better have college paid for at least, like, $1,000, $2,000.
Yeah, like, $5,000, though, I was just, like, that's a lot of money, like, out of pocket. And so that's what, in my first head, that's what I was like, oh, my God, like, what am I going to do? So I started working. I literally, like, my brother had a field trip at Skate City, and I went in, and I was like, can I get an application? They're like, yeah, fill it out. And then the manager was just like, have you worked before? And I was like, no. And I was like, this would be my first experience working. Like, I just need a job. Like, let me know. Like, I'm dedicated. Like, I'm available. He's like, are you free weekends? And it was senior year. So I was just like, yes, I had to make that sacrifice. Like, and I was just like, yeah. And so I started working there. I started as a cashier first, and then I right away, because of my personality, I moved real quickly to birthday hostess and started making those tips. And I started saving up money, but it was still like not a lot yet to the $5,000 that I thought I had initially had to pay. And my mom and me were like trying to figure out ways. Like I was like, damn, like what else should I get? A second job and stuff like that. And she's like, I don't know, I just don't want, because she's the mom that was like, school comes first. And I was just like, I was still doing good in grades, but she could tell I was already stressing out with work and stuff like that. But then in the summer, I was like, okay, I'll get like more jobs. I could start doing, like, we honestly were thinking about doing like a babysitting business where I babysit like 10 kids each one. Like, we were planning it out because I was like, it was getting closer and closer to when school started. So I was already like stressing out. I'm not gonna lie, like that summer, like I remember nights where I was crying because I was like, what am I gonna do if I can pay? I was already looking at how the U has like the half, like you could pay one half and then pay the other half, and like I was just so stressing and like I was an overthinker. So I just remember like crying like in nights, like what am I gonna do? Like I'm going, but like at the same time I was like, damn, I'm not there yet, and like I was so like honestly scared that it wasn't gonna make it. And then they sent me like another, like an official financial aid package, like the official ones we get. And I saw it and like it went down. So from being 5,000, it actually ended up being like 1,000 each quarter. So 3,000. So that was great. And 2,000 knocked it off. That was great because I was actually close to that amount. So I was just like, that's perfect. And honestly, I was so happy. Like, I remember telling my mom, and like she was happy for me. And I was like, okay, like it's covered. Like I don't have to worry. Like I have that saved up. I could pay and stuff like that. And like I was worried about bucks, but then college I can do too because I get bank book from them. Because I used to do after school with them from 3 to like 7 p.m. junior and senior year, Monday to Friday, going every day like to do workshops and stuff like that. And they pay you for that, but not like you. They just use that scholarship money. So my books were covered, but that was the way I got it, like kind of covered in a way. But that's why I was always so scared because I was just like, I didn't know what was gonna happen. And it happened so last minute too. Like a lot of things happen last minute. I don't know. Like it always ends up working out in a way, I guess. So that's like the cheesy quote. Like at the end of the day, it ends up being okay. But yeah, I still get scared too every year to apply because like you said, it could always change. Financial aid can always change. It could always take away, or they could always give you more. You just never know. Like I know this year, like financial aid's playing a lot of games with a lot of people. Like I know with my friend, they took a lot away, and really, it's like why? Like they changed their financial aid up so much, and they even like I heard was work study too. They're like, they didn't offer that. Like they offered her work study last year, and they didn't even give it to her this year. So it's like kind of that dynamic and stuff like that. That's why I get scared.
All valid points.
Yeah, that was a lot of information.
Very good.
But yeah, I don't want to end on that bad note.
Because on a good note, just like ask for help if you need it.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to ask for help. The resources are here for you. They're doing their job by you asking help. So just ever reach out, ask for help. Don't be scared. And it gets easier as the years go on.
Yeah. I know that sounded scary and stressful, but I mean it. Like it ended up working out at the end of the day, and like George and Robert are saying, there's always resources. You have us, you have Linda, you have Alfredo, you have everyone in the First Initiatives team, like here, and not even that, like you have the department here, like bust in there. Sometimes you really do have to walk in there for you to like actually get like a one-on-one. Like to be honest, like if they don't answer your emails, they're not answering your calls because I heard this year that they're not taking like the phone calls right away. Just go up in there because that is your right. Like honestly, like to go, yeah.
Your tuition's paying yourself.
Yeah, if you have any questions, you could go. Like you said, it's their job. Like you're not bothering anyone. Wow, they're really loud.
Going ham out there.
But yeah, like honestly, don't be scared. I know this topic's always stressful to think about, especially right now during spooky season. But I just don't be scared about it. You always have resources. Let us know if you ever need any help. That's kind of the end of the questions, to be honest. There's like one more. It was just about like budgeting tips, but I think we
covered it throughout.
Yeah. And if you have any more questions, always feel free to ask any of us. I could give you the information if you message us on the 1Genu app or even the VIP app now. But yeah, I don't know. Sorry, my brain is like, ooh, I'm having flashbacks of when getting this bread, literally this topic, y'all. So I just want to close out. Thank you for all those who are watching. Stay tuned. I'm going to get this video uploaded to YouTube, hopefully. If not, I'll let you know where else it's going to be available. But yeah, subscribe because I'm going to start the YouTube channel for this now. If you ever want to join us, we always do this from 3:30 to 4:30. As you saw, you don't even have to stay for the entire time, but like it's fun to always like do this. I feel like
it doesn't have to be every week, but if you want to just chime in a couple of times, keep meeting for me to have a meeting right before this. I'd love to see more undergrads.
Exactly, and like like you said, like you don't have to come to. It's not a commitment. Like I'm not gonna hold you responsible, or like me and Fredo aren't gonna be like you are gonna be here now every day. No, like you could choose the topics you want to come to. It's definitely great when we have more voices here. Again, because we're not always right, and you're not always gonna agree with us. But come here and voice your opinion. Like it's a safe space. Not a lot of places do this on campus where you get to talk and hear our voices. But yeah, this is basically what this platform is for. Like for you to air out your voice and use it. And it's for the students here. And yeah, I'm sorry. This has been a long week to be honest.
It's been a pretty rough week to be honest. Like school wise.
Is it just me or has it been rough? But yeah, okay. So I hope
Ours still live ended already, but it's all good.
Oh, did it?
It just ended right now, yeah.
Why?
Because we still got YouTube going.
Oh well, I guess the live came off. All right, everyone. Well, have a great day. Hopefully, next week's topic is going to be relationships and being single in college. So that one, I'm expecting so much questions for that one. We probably won't get to
Spill
all
the
of
tea.
them, but we're going to spill more tea. I'm just kidding.
And we out.
Yeah, all right, bye, y'all. Fredo will be back next week. He's going to be married, so he'll probably give us some tips about that. All right, bye, everyone.